Welcome back. Today on World History, Chapter 3.5. Let's get into it. Okay, so today we're talking about people or civilizations or groups that lived in Mesopotamia. Okay, Mesopotamia, it's in the Fertile Crescent near the Tigris and Euphrates. You should be able to find that on a map. If you can't, watch the other video, Chapter 3 video, or Google up a map. Make sure you know where Tigris and Euphrates are, okay? We're going to talk about cuneiform, and we'll even do a little bit of it in a minute. And it's showing that people are going to start writing. Okay, we're going to have some new technologies. Writing is one of them. Wheel is another new technology, okay? We'll have Hammurabi's Code. Once people start living with one another, okay, so we're developing civilization, going from hunting and gathering to farming and agriculture and settling down. You're going to need codes or laws. Hammurabi's Code is one of the first law codes where people are going to write the law down, codify the law. So we'll check that out, and then we'll get to an alphabet. So when it comes to writing, and I'll talk about this in a minute, we're going from looks like a bird, looks like a fish, to abstract. And then from that, we're going to go to straight alphabet. So let's get going. Let's talk about silt. Okay? Silt is right there. It's super important for these plants. And so again, flood good brings in the silt, extra crops, lots of food. We love it. Flood bad, wipes everything out, washes it out into the Persian Gulf or whatnot. So know what that is. Today, you should know what cuneiform is. You'll know it, you'll do it, you'll love it. You should know what Hammurabi's Code is. We'll read it. It'll be attached to this video. Make sure you read a copy, okay? It's our primary source of the day. The Sumerians invented the wheel, but the Phoenicians invented the alphabet. Make sure you know those two things. Who's the first emperor in Mesopotamia? 1, 2, 3, say it. Sargon. All right. Sumerian society, their class system, it's based on what? Their occupation or their job, okay? Sumerian society, your social rank, it's based on your job, okay? Remember that? Here we go. Quick history of the Sumerians.
The history and achievements of the Sumerians. To start today's podcast, let's quickly revisit the events that have led us to the emergence of civilization. If you recall, Mesopotamia began as a settlement for hunter-gatherer groups. Because of the region's fertile soil, farm settlements formed. These farm settlements eventually developed into villages due to the consistent food source that farming provided. And the last date we will add to our timeline is 3000 BC, when farm settlements evolve into cities. It's during this time that the world's first civilization develops, called Sumer. The Sumerian city-state. Originally, Sumer was made up of two parts: rural farmland, where they grew crops like wheat and barley, and a central city, where you would find a main temple, shops, and homes. This layout led to the formation of the city-state, meaning a political unit made up of a central city and all the countryside around it. Over time, many city-states developed in Sumer, and conflict would arise as leaders would try to expand their territories by gaining more farmland. Because of this, city-states built up strong armies and even constructed strong, thick walls around their cities for protection. Sumerian society. Religion played a huge role in the daily lives of Sumerians. While most people in the United States practice a religion where they worship one god, Sumerians worshipped many gods. This is called polytheism. They had an air god, a god of wisdom, a goddess of love and war, a sun god, and a moon god, just to name a few. These gods were responsible for the good things in life, like good harvests and wealth, as well as the bad things in life, like droughts, floods, and illness. But most importantly, the main goal in Sumerian life was to please the gods. The people who lived in Sumer were divided by rank or class. This system of social division is called a social hierarchy. Think of it like a ladder. The closer you are to the top of the ladder, the more wealthy, powerful, and important you are. But as you move down the ladder, you become less wealthy, powerful, and important. In Sumer, kings were at the top of the hierarchy, followed by priests, then craftspeople, merchants and traders, then farmers and laborers, and at the bottom, you had slaves. Sumerian achievements. Sumerians had many accomplishments that continue to impact our lives today. They were the first people to build wheeled vehicles such as carts. Sumerians invented the plow, which greatly increased agricultural production. And they developed a math system based on the number 60, dividing a circle into 360 degrees and a year into 12 months, measurements that we still use today. So the next time you see Lebron James throw down a 360,
LeBron with a takeaway by himself. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can see that coming all the way.
or 12-year-old skateboarder Tom Schaar pull off a 1080. You have the Sumerians to thank. Sumerians also built large, pyramid-shaped temples called ziggurats, and some of them have walls that are still standing today. Cylinder seals, the Sumerians' greatest artistic achievement, were made as a way of labeling possessions and telling stories. And most importantly, Sumerians developed cuneiform, the world's first system of writing. Using cuneiform, scribes, or writers, kept government records, wrote down trade activities, and composed poems about gods and epics about heroes. One such poem is the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the world's greatest and oldest works of literature.
Okay, it's project time. All right, welcome. Remember, your book is online under the book section there, and this will be page 66, and it's going to show you this tablet, right? What I want you to do is, if you have Play-Doh, use Play-Doh. If, don't get in trouble, but if you've got mud or sand, or if you need a paper with a pen, whatever you've got, try to make this clay tablet, okay? So there's my clay tablet. And then I want you to pick one of these things. So I'm going to do fish. Okay, so I'm going to draw a fish in my clay tablet. And what I want you to see is that it originally looks like, it looks like a fish. And then as they move further in time, notice the numbers are getting smaller because we're moving towards zero. As you get closer to modern day, it becomes more abstract. So you can pick water or heaven or grain or bird, whatever you want to do, make your tablet with those symbols. Now, Sumerians invent the wheel. That's important. Log that down. That's easy Jeopardy question. Who invents the wheel? Sumerians. Cool. They also make a math that's based on the number 60. They divide a wheel into 360 degrees. They divide the year into 12 months. So these guys are very advanced, okay? Ziggurat. It's another vocab word. It's a temple-shaped tower, pyramid-shaped temple tower. And that's what they built. In order to be a civilization, you have to have writing and monumental architecture. And that's not always fair because there's lots of civilizations out there and lots of people that were great, but they maybe didn't build great things, and they're just not considered the first level of history. It's not me. I'm not the one writing this. I'm just telling you that in order to be considered a first-class civilization in general, you had to write things down, and you also had to have monumental architecture. So here's their example of that. Now we're going to talk about Babylon. Look at that structure there. It's a city with walls around it. What do we call that? If it's an autonomous political unit, a city-state, okay? Here's Hammurabi's Code, one of the first written laws. I want you to read the primary source, look at the questions. These are the gardens of Babylon. And there's some awesome engineering that they did to get these. So check this out.
No one has ever found the Hanging Gardens of Babylon.
No evidence for it on the archaeological record.
Was the garden even in Babylon?
We simply had the wrong place, the wrong king. He says it was a marvel for all peoples, a wonder of the world.
Enjoy that? That's pretty cool, right? That technology where they're moving the water. Okay, these guys are they're brilliant. Okay, they're brilliant. They just have a different level of technology than we do, but they're plenty smart. Okay, these guys are super smart. Okay, now we got the Hittite Empire, and we're starting to become. They're going to have iron technology now. We've gone from sticks and stones. Now we're up to iron. You notice that the Hittite Empire is at the top there of the Fertile Crescent. This is what I want you to get. Two things. This will help you remember the people of Mesopotamia. Saba the Hutt. Okay, not Jabba the Hutt. Saba the Hutt. Sumerians. Akkadians. Babylonians. Assyrians. Hittites. If you remember them, fine. If you don't, that's okay. That's one level. That's a pretty high level of knowledge. The more important part is understanding that in Egypt, you can have Egyptians, followed by more Egyptians, then Egyptians. But in Mesopotamia, it's a lot crazier. They have different people that gain power and rule and change and come in from the north or come in from the south or wherever. And so Mesopotamia is much more chaotic, and I want you to see that different people are going to rule. Phoenicians, okay, they come up with the first alphabet. We don't know a ton about them. That's who did the first wheel? Sumerians. Okay, awesome, good job. What's the first empire in Mesopotamia? The Akkadians. And their leader was, their first leader? Sargon. All right. Who ruled the Akkadians? We got it. Their social class was based on your job. What's silt? It's a type of dirt that helps the plants grow. Okay, awesome. Let's go. Geography review time. You got to know this. On this map, where's Iran? Did you know that? I hope you did. How about Iraq? Okay, great. And then Syria. Fantastic. Where's the Mediterranean Sea? I know the video didn't do a good job. I had a seahorse and everything. Here, I'm going to fix the seahorse. Boom. There's the seahorse on the Mediterranean Sea. And then know where the Tigris and Euphrates are. Okay? Which one's the Tigris? Okay, perfect. How about Euphrates? There it is. You got to study these. If you're struggling, maybe you got to draw a map. Maybe you got to Google it. I can put a map up here that you can download. But at the end of the day, you've got to take responsibility for your education. I've told you what to learn. Get a few maps out. You've got it, okay? You can do this. Here's another map. Tigris and Euphrates. Can you figure them out? Perfect. Iran? Iraq? Syria? You got it. Did you not get it? Rewind it. Watch it again. Watch it like 5 times until it's in your brain. Cool. There is the Fertile Crescent, okay, Mesopotamia. What's the main, if I say physical geography that affects all of Sumeria and all of Mesopotamia, what's the main natural event that affects Sumerian culture and affects that whole region? What's the big natural event? The flood, okay? Good flood or bad flood? Okay, that's going to dominate this area. And if you remembered from the cartoon where it's talking about Gilgamesh, where the goddess of love, the goddess of war, it's the same person. Okay, that's their culture a little bit, good or bad, this dichotomy. And a lot of it, we think, comes from the physical geography of these rivers. So great. Make sure, that's it with chapter 3. We're moving on to chapter 4. We're rolling. Okay, make sure you know people, places, and things. Who are the people? Number 1, Sargon, right? Sounds good. What are the places? Okay, that's your geography, all the things you need to know. And then how about some things? First wheel, first law code. What's that called? Hammurabi's code. Okay, you should have a little list of 5 to 10 questions that you think will be on the test. So I will see you back here soon for chapter 4. Take care.